Hello, kia ora, and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with artists from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm your host, Mandy Jakic. Leigh Tawharu is a contemporary mixed media and printmaking artist living in Kaeo in the far north of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Her work is created through various techniques and mediums which seek to explore surface texture, pattern and design on paper. She is influenced and inspired by her surrounding landscapes, native bush, fashion, textiles and still life from within her immediate domestic environment. This is really the best conversation, and I absolutely loved meeting Leigh. We initially connected when I invited her to exhibit a work alongside my own thread paintings in a group show I'm involved with called Perceived, which is with the Muriwai Arts Collective. As our conversation went on in this podcast episode, we found more and more connections between our work and the way we think, which was so lovely. Leigh speaks about the immense pleasure she gains from the object and the cloth, the memories they hold, and the cathartic practice of repetitive stitches, which provides a daily early morning exercise in mindfulness. She shares how she finally devoted herself to studying fine art in 2018, how she uses printmaking and painting in her work, and how she manages threading on paper. We discuss her various series of works she has done over the last few years, using thread and different mediums such as shellac, gold leaf, collage and ballpoint pen, and how they all connect. We have great chats about all sorts of interesting things like nostalgia and how that creeps into our work, sales at shows, imposter syndrome, how we both feel connected to our land and place, and how her work responds to the environment around her. Leigh goes into fascinating detail about all the different processes she uses to bring thread into her work. Once again, please excuse my blocked up, chesty, croaky, wheezy voice in this episode. Despite this, I know you're going to really enjoy our conversation. Morena, Leigh.
Kia ora, Mandy.
Lovely to see you and lovely to finally meet you after many emails to and fro.
Yes. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you. And thank you very much for agreeing to be on the podcast. So we connected probably 6 weeks ago and I approached you to work alongside me in a show, a group show called Perceived, which is on at the Kaeo Arts Centre from the 27th of August to the 14th of September. And this is a group show with the Muriwai Arts Collective, which I've just become a member of. So I'm really excited to be exhibiting, and I'm so excited to have found you, Leigh, as my inspiring artist. So this show is a really good concept where 7 artists respond to 7 other artists out of the community and work sort of in a way that connects to that artist's work somehow. So I had to do a little bit of research to find someone who I thought would be a good person to respond to with where I'm at the moment with my artwork. And I found you and thought that we connected really well in the way that we use thread and paint.
Yeah.
And also the way we think about colour and respond to pattern and geometry. So I contacted you, and it was the funniest thing, actually. I wrote this email and I was all excited and happy. And then I was like, oh no, I don't want to send it. Like I got this really intense imposter syndrome feeling because I just thought she's going to look at my art and think, what the hell? No, thanks. Which is just, insane to think like that. But I suddenly really lacked confidence in approaching you. And then I sent it off finally after a bit of a pep talk from George. And really quickly you got back to me and said, oh my gosh, it's an honor. Thank you so much. And oh my God, that honestly made my day. I was so happy.
When I got that, I was like, oh my God, Tommy, well, that's my husband. And I was like, this person has just come out of the blue. And it was just really flattering.
Oh,
Amazing.
that's nice. Yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
I was very flattered that you were prepared to put your work next to my work, so thank you.
Oh, likewise. I did a very quick Google, stalky thing, just see what your artwork was. But yeah, I can see how they do work together for sure.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, there's lots of differences as well, and I
Mm.
can't wait to hear more about your actual process. But there's definite sort of connections. So hopefully some of the listeners might like to come along. The opening night is from 4 till 6 on Saturday, the 31st of August. So you will be down there from Kaeo, and I'll be there. So yeah, I think it'll be a great show to come and view.
Yeah, awesome.
It's so great that you can be there as well.
Yes, I'm going to the fabric symposium in Whangarei. So I'm gonna zoom down and then stay at mum's and zoom back up for the next day.
Oh wow. Right. Very good arty weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. So yeah, I'm very pleased to have met you, Leigh, and to have this connection with you, and to be able to actually get to know you a bit better via the podcast before
Yeah,
we show together is the most perfect thing.
yeah.
So you are living in Kaeo in Te Tai Tokerau,
Yeah,
and I just said to you earlier, I've never actually spoken to an artist from Northland. So
yeah.
it's great to hopefully start the ball rolling to get to talk to lots of artists up there.
There's heaps.
Yeah, I can imagine. When did you actually get to Kaeo and what do you love about living there?
Well, we moved up from West Auckland up to Kirikiri in 2017, and then we moved to Kaeo 2019. And we live very rural. We're off the state highway, about 5 minutes south of Kaeo Township. And we're just surrounded in mountains, and it's just very quiet and native bush and native birds. And yeah, I mean, what's not to love, really?
Yeah, it's such a
Yeah,
beautiful part of the country, isn't it, up there?
it is. Northland is, yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, we love it
Mhm.
up there. And you're not far from the big smoke kitty kitty if you need to get supplies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not too far from there. It's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then so close to all those beautiful beaches.
Oh, yeah, for
Mm.
sure. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just out at Matoti Bay this morning, and it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite places, actually. Yeah. So let's hear about you, Leigh Tawharu. And can you tell us where you were born and what kind of child you were?
Born in Auckland, and I was um, what kind of child? Outdoorsy. So we were really outdoorsy. Mum and dad were right into surfing, frisbee, um, hacky sack, outdoor stuff, four-wheel driving. They were both quite into the frisbee circuit, so that's freestyle frisbee, frisbee golf, ultimate frisbee. And me and my younger brother, we got dragged along to all of that as kids, which was awesome. So I remember childhood as a lot of fun and a lot of activity and recreation.
Were you a child who was making? Did you discover the sewing machine early?
I did hand sewing as a like 6-year-old. I think I got my first sewing kit and I did hand sewing, but I was also right into art. So I remember all through primary school, intermediate, high school, just being right into art and sports and art. Yeah.
Mm. That was
So
your
I
thing.
always did my own, making, and so I made clothes, hand sewed my own clothes, and did lots of painting. So as a teenager, had the one wall was a piece of canvas, and it was up for about 18 months, and I just painted at it, every now and again. So that kind of thing, had my mates over and everyone would have a go.
How
That sort of thing.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
cool.
cool. Yeah. And at high school, how did you find studying art?
I loved it. But I was a terrible student in that I didn't go to any other classes really except for art. So I just hung out in the art room or played hacky sack. And I don't even I think I passed art, but I didn't conform to the briefs because I just didn't want to. But I didn't cause any trouble, so the art teacher just let me kind of do whatever I wanted, sort of thing, which was cool.
Yeah, that
But
is cool.
yeah.
And you became a physiotherapist, so you must have been doing some good study to get through into uni.
Yeah, well, that came a bit later. So when I left high school, I was like, right, I'm going to be an artist for sure. And I spent like 3 months on the dole, and then mum was just like, no, you've got to go get a job. You've got to really properly do something. So I did get a job, and I was like forklift driving and store manager type stuff. And then it was mum who said, you don't want to really be doing this forever. Maybe look at something. And I was playing netball at the time. I picked that up again. And then so I thought sports physio. So yeah, I went to uni at 26
Oh,
and
okay.
started doing physio, which was 4 years, and it was awful.
Really?
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's really full on. It's quite intense, isn't it, that degree?
Oh, it's just crazy. And we had so my daughter was 5 at the time, so that was a lot. There was a lot going on. But got through it. And playing netball too, like club and reps and stuff, and it was a very busy, crazy time. And I don't think I did much making during that time because I just
Really?
didn't have enough energy, I don't think.
Yeah, enough time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. And were you thinking that you wanted to get back into making, or were you still just too busy to think about that all the way through?
Nah, I always kept sewing, so real experimental clothing. My nana is a massive sewer, she's passed. And she was like one of my, just beautiful soul people who, made my wedding dress. And she tried to teach me how to sew, but she was like, when you really understand the rules, you can break them. But I
Yeah.
never knew the rules. So I was trying to cut corners that, I just didn't understand. She was so patient with me. But yeah, so I was always sewing. And when I was 32, I busted my knee on the netball court. So I had to sort of give up my netball campaign. And that then kind of kick-started a bit more making.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had time. I wasn't training yeah.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
great in a way. It's even though you were injured, it was a good catalyst, I suppose.
Oh, it was sweet because I had like 6 months off work and I was laid up. So we'd bought a house at that point, and I I collaged the dining room wall with all of my album covers, my CD album covers. But I cut them up, and it was thousands and thousands of tiny bits of paper that I stuck individually onto the wall. It took months, but I had nothing else to do, and I couldn't like really do much except for my rehab exercises and stuff. So I just did that, and that was probably quite a catalyst actually to go,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I actually really enjoy this. And
Yeah.
so after that, I was I doing? I think I was just doing a little bit more making. I'd got screen printing stuff that I did at home, and I did a textile screen printing workshop for a weekend, and that sparked something else too. And then I was like, got my own screen printing stuff out in the garage and was doing some stuff. Um, and then I got pregnant with Hemi. So there's a 15-year age gap between Grace and Hemi. And when I had him, I got this awful nerve damage, and I couldn't sit or stand for any length of time.
Oh,
Yeah, it was pretty awful. And that really the only thing was time that could help that out. So I could sort of side lean on the couch or on a chair. So I took up drawing because I had to just pass the time somehow, And you can stare at a baby for so long, and then you've got to do something.
yeah.
But yeah, and that's when I started drawing, and
Oh,
I spent hours and hours just doing black ink drawings. And there's a few around. I gave heaps of them away, and there's some in the collecting dust in the studio. But yeah, that was like in the next phase, and then it was
oh,
sort of like, oh, I think I really like drawing. And then I was like, man, I'd love so much to go to art school, or do something creative. And I wasn't working at that point, so I was on what is it called? Maternity leave, yeah.
yeah.
And then we moved up north, and I didn't work. I had the first 3 years off, which was a total luxury, with Hemi, and that's when I went to North Tech for 2 years to do. The plan was to do the Bachelor of Applied Arts, and I got through. I was just doing it part time, and oh, just loved it so much, man. I just hit the ground running. Loved it. I didn't mind the travel down and back. It was just so cool.
That's in
Yeah,
Whangarei? Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Which unfortunately has closed, the art department.
What
So
a
I never
shame.
got to finish that. But what it did do was it got me connected with some of the coolest people I know, my art people, um, which I didn't even know existed. And it's so important, hey? Like I hear all of the stories of the importance of having art friends, and
Yeah.
they really are in it's a level of connection that they're really the only people you can talk to about art because no one else really cares. So that was really awesome. And it got me into some really awesome habits that I've still got, which I just got some little Easter eggs off some tutors,
Like
which
what?
I've carried through. Like one of them said, if you can just do 1 hour a day, every day of art, whether it's reading, writing, drawing, whatever, just making, and do it at the same time so you create a habit. Well, I took that, and I do the morning. So I get up between 5 and 6, and I'll just hum away for a couple of hours until Hemi gets up. And
Mm,
I've been doing that for the last 4 years, probably 4 or 5 years.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's such a fantastic habit to get into and such a beautiful way to start your day.
Oh, the best way. Yeah,
Mm.
totally.
Do you
Because
feel
it's
that's
so
that
grounding. Yeah.
yeah, it'd be really good for your well-being, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mm.
it's really quiet at that time. And you're not a mother or you know, uh, you're just an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, which is great. Oh, that's such a good idea. That's very sound advice. So, what year was that you went to tech?
That was 2018 and 2019. And then, of course, COVID. And that, I think, was pretty much the nail in the coffin for North Tech. I think the writing was on the wall, but yeah.
Mm.
And it was difficult for them to accommodate, I think, people who didn't live in Whangarei. Yeah, I would have jumped through hoops, to finish that. Like, it
Yeah.
was just, yeah,
Can
it's
it
amazing.
transfer over to another university or another tech?
Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't really had time to look into that.
Mm.
I think there probably is something.
Yeah.
It would have to be home correspondence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been such a positive experience to meet your people, your art community,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then sort of to kickstart your own practice. So were you starting to think at that point that maybe you would be an artist in some form?
Oh, for sure. I think so. At least at least gave me the confidence to just do it, you know, instead of thinking about it and
Yeah,
wanting to do it, just actually just do it.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And what,
my husband's really supportive too of all my artistic endeavors,
which
which
is
is cool.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
makes it
awesome.
very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. So, what were you actually making or sort of focusing on at Tech, and where did you go from there?
Oh, I loved printmaking. As soon as we started doing that, I was like, "Oh, yes, this is so my jam." And, I would go down for extra days during the week and just have the whole print room to myself and just do my own thing as well. So I was very committed to it. Um, and that was actually where I started to add stitch to, um, uh, prints or paper, yeah. So, my lovely tutor slash friend slash mentor, Faith McManus, I was stitching on some prints that we'd done, and we got talking about, or she recommended me to look at sashiko, you know, the Japanese functional embroidery. Oh, you should look it up. You'd love it.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
it's very so the true form of it's really mathematical, and there's lots of rules, and I, of course, just can't do rules. So, but if you have a look at it, it's very, very cool. And
Mm,
I just took it and ran with it and did my own thing with it, and that would be how the stitch started. So there's
okay.
a lot of running stitch, done within shapes and just all sorts of things. It's hard to explain.
Mm.
Um,
And what was your printmaking like at that time? Was it still screen printing, or were you exploring
no,
other medium?
woodcut. We did reduction. I really liked solar plate printmaking. We kind of did a few different kinds. Etching, copper etching, not so much. There's just too many chemicals and processes. It's pretty
Mm.
crazy, yeah. Um, and the solar plate too, that's quite involved. But you can get such cool images because
Mm.
it's really tonal. So if you're good at like putting together lots of patterns and layers and stuff like that, that was really cool. But I preferred something that was a bit more straightforward, like woodcut. And you can
Mm.
also just do hand printing of woodcut at home, with a
Yeah.
barren or a spoon or yeah, yeah.
Mm. So what were you thinking when you came out of North Tech, when that finished up after 2 years? What was your plan?
Um I had to go back to work as well because, my my dream of retiring early and becoming an artist wasn't realistic. So I had to go back to physioing. Um, so then I just thought, oh well, I'll just part time physio, part time art, and I don't know what my like goals of art were, just to make and to see what happens. Really, yeah,
Mm.
which is what I'm still doing. So
Yeah. And when you look at your Instagram page, you've your work is it's very much yours, but it's also quite different. You seem to go in different phases, still using thread and printmaking and painting in different
yeah,
ways. But
yeah.
you've sort of gone through different phases or different series, which are all so beautiful. Could you please
Mm.
just describe your art practice and what your works look like?
Oh, that's tricky because they kind of look, depending on what I do, they look a bit different. But I guess they're layered. They're always on paper because I love paper. My favourite is this really thick Magnani paper, which I'm using lots of at the moment. Um, so there'll usually be a but not necessarily a layer of print or paint or colour. So the painting on the paper is just my way of getting colour onto the paper. If I had my press at home, I would probably do it by press and press it in, because I love that effect of really getting the ink into the paper, whereas the paint kind of sits on top of it. And then there'll be the next layer, which will probably be stitching, and that'll just take whatever form it takes, depending on what the print or the paint is, you know. I do it very freely. I don't really have much of a plan.
Yeah, which is the way I have been working on my current thread and painting series as well, which I love. It's like I have the pattern to start with, which
Yeah.
is pretty much set. And then the thread can go wherever it needs to go, which I really
Yeah.
love that. You don't actually have a plan for it. You just kind of see what
Yes.
happens. And it's like the
Yeah.
thread is enhancing the original design or the original pattern and sort of
Yeah.
bringing something new to it,
I
which
love it.
is fun. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just love it. So I'm dying to know all about your process, but let's just talk about those different series of works. I love your avant-garde series, which you showed at Mead and Dickinson Gallery. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was in about 2022. So that was your second solo show, and that is using blues and then adding stitch
Ballpoint.
to
Yeah.
that. So that's ballpoint pen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is incredible, but they actually look like you've done some printmaking there to get those drawings together. How do you use ballpoint pen in that way?
So I did a mass deep dive into ballpoint pens. That whole series took, I probably spent about 2,500 hours on that over a year. And
Wow.
it's just, I found ballpoints that I really liked using, because some are terrible. And I learned so much about, you know, different different ink reacts differently on the paper. And I like I'm not going to do any branding on here. But I definitely had some favorites, and I did a lot of layering. So I'd do a layer of scribble, and then another layer of scribble, and then a layer of like straight up and down scribble, and then a layer of side across scribble, just to get that real depth and textural feeling of the ink.
Mm,
It was, yeah, very labor intensive.
I can imagine.
That
They're so detailed. And then the different shades or tones of blues, were they different pens, or were they actually just dependent on how many layers you put down?
different pens. Yeah. I've still got in the studio about 150 ballpoint pens. I think I should probably just donate them to the school
Really?
on the road or something.
Oh wow. But
It's
I
probably
mean you would
actually.
still use those, wouldn't you, somewhere, somehow?
Oh yeah, maybe. It's funny because you can never find a pen in the house. They're all
Yeah.
in the studio. Yeah,
It's always the way, isn't it?
yeah,
And so that series was around your indoor plants, wasn't it?
yeah.
Tell us
So
about that.
that was it not long after COVID, I guess. Oh, so I always collected plants, but not really on a grand scale. And then COVID, spent way more time at home than that. And then after that too, I just started collecting more, and I did a couple of ballpoint drawings, just random ones. And Megan really liked them. So, and then I got offered to do a show. So I was like, cool, okay, love that.
Yes.
I
Such
love
good
to work
motivation.
towards a goal, yeah. And to
Absolutely.
have a deadline is such a good thing too.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I did massive research on my house plants as well. And different kinds and where they come from, da da da. Um, and I still don't really know anything about houseplants. They live or they die. I just um, but yeah, those drawings were I don't know, each one was quite sort of standalone, I think. And it just gave me an opportunity to really explore, I guess, how much you can get out of glue and pens and thread. So they're just very layered with heaps of different patterns, and I think using such a limited color palette, then you have to explore the other things, texture, pattern, depth of color and stuff like that, to draw as much out as possible. So it was
Yeah.
just quite a cool learning experience.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful series. I mean, it's like you say, they're all quite different but connected. And some of them, I really love the way you use like a sort of neutral colored thread that is almost the same color as the paper behind on that one. And you do that quite a bit through your work, don't you? Where it's harder to see. It's just very textural, but it blends in color wise.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really lovely. So that series there, do you come up with like a pencil sketch or an idea for the drawing? How does the process actually develop?
Well, that one in particular, I just would pick a plant and then just draw the plant with a pencil on the paper and then put it into a scene, just a made up scene really, or just do pattern in the background. And then just start layering up bloody ball bearings.
Wow, they must have taken such a long time. It's just insane.
Oh, they did. But it was just such a cathartic, process at the same time. I
Yeah,
listened to 1,000 podcasts and, watched so many series on TV,
yeah, it can be good for
just
that.
chipped away at it. Yeah,
And that was before you discovered Creative Matters podcast, wasn't
it was, yes.
it? Because I
Otherwise, you would
did.
have been there with me on the journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite funny because I did approach you when we first connected to say, hey, you should be on the podcast. And you're like, hell no. But you have
Oh,
since
no.
been listening and thought, actually, maybe I would like to be on the podcast, which is fantastic. Very happy to
Yeah.
have you here. Yeah, so that series there is quite stunning, and you became with Avant Garden, the actual work called Avant Garden, that became a finalist in the Molly Morpeth Canada Awards, didn't it,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
2023, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was quite a sort of quite a series that was quite sort of started and then seemed to end. It was a
Yeah.
sort of nicely wrapped up series. Um, and then you moved on to some more colourful work, but you've also done works with shellac, and black and quite a lot of neutral thread colours, which I also love. Can you tell us about those ones and how you use shellac?
Yeah. So those ones, how did I start them? Oh, that was just me mucking around at home with hand printing. That I'd cut out some vases. So I still like that whole sort of still life thing, as opposed to drawing figures, or mind you, the colour ones are landscape, so that's different too.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I, with the vase or whatever, you can jam a lot of pattern into that if you want to. So I did those, and then, oh no, actually, I did another series that just sort of, it turned into the printmaking stuff, where I was drawing with black pen, and then I wanted to I got given some shellac by someone who used it to seal their drawings and paintings. And I had it, and I thought, and I did seal a drawing once, and I was like, that's cool. I just really like the colour of the brown amber on the black. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could just paint it onto different, just separate bits, or, just some of the image.
Mm.
And then that's how I thought, came up with, well, just painting like onto a vase or something,
Yeah, starting
so
to add paint to the paper.
yeah, but it was shellac.
Yeah. And so
Mm.
shellac, does that sort of act like a watery paint kind of thing?
It's I'm not very technical. I just sort of mix it up until it's kind of the consistency that I like. And you can put a couple of layers on. But if you put too much on, it can crack. I haven't had that happen, but yeah. And if it's too watery, then it will make the ink run, and that's not cool.
No.
So yeah, it's a bit of trial and error.
Yeah. But I
And you
love
have
the way you can get different, again, like the blues, different tones or
yeah, so
or
just building
tints.
up layers
Yeah, so it's just
more
different
in some
layers.
areas. Yeah,
And it's such a beautiful color, isn't it? Such a sort of, it feels very whenua, sort of the land pigment.
yeah, it's really nice and
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It's beautiful. So those were done with black ballpoint pen, was it?
Originally, and then I moved on to woodcut with ink. Yeah.
Nice.
And
Mm.
that's a whole process because you've got to, well, you draw up your whole thing, cut it all out, ink it up, and then put it on the paper. And then you've got to wait for like 3 or 4 weeks for it to dry before you can do anything else to it.
Yeah.
So when that happens, that's when I'll probably go and do a painting thread piece
Mm.
to fill
Mm.
in that time.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the woodcut idea has, it's such a great way of using line with woodcut, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which kind of connects just to the way you draw, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Mm.
not like a true, I mean, I don't usually use many tools with woodcut to get different, um, I don't know, weights of line or, effects. I just quite like a simple,
Yeah,
you know,
consistent line. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost like you're drawing through the
yeah,
woodcut,
yeah,
which I guess you are, really,
yeah,
but just with a different tool.
yeah. So I've done quite a few of those and I've used the same jars and vases and different ones so I can mix them up.
Yeah,
Like put these two together on this work and these two on this work.
yeah, that's quite
Mm.
handy, isn't it? You can keep the plate.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you can add different things with your thread or shellac or whatever you're doing with that print.
yeah.
Yeah, which is very smart. And what is it that you love about the still life?
Um, I don't know. I think like I spend a lot of time inside, which is weird considering I spent so much time outside as a kid. But I don't know. I think it's like sentimental as well. Like I collect a lot of things or have done, and I've got a lot of mum's cool stuff from the 70s and some choice old vases and pots that I've managed to scab off people. you know? And I just try, those are kind of like what I'm trying to create or recreate in those pictures is that it's kind of like the object, but it's the sentimental value as well that goes with
Mm,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the time it came from too.
Yeah. And there's like a familiarity with it. Even though they're kind of very loosely based on something, it still reminds me of my mum or my auntie or,
Yeah, that's
something
so
like that.
lovely. Yeah, and there's nothing better. I'm such a fan of retro design and retro objects, and it's just, I mean, we've got quite a small house, and unfortunately, really, I'm at capacity. But so I have to figure out what I'm going to do there. But yeah, I just love that, and that's what my series for this show Perceived is about. It's about 70s design and using the original design, as I said, to start with, which is painted, and then
Mm,
adding red. And I just feel, sometimes when you have a subject or an idea or a theme that you're responding to, it's so personal and it's
mm,
so sort of takes you back, and you just, as you're making, you're just heading back to these places.
yeah.
And the 70s, I was growing up in the 70s, and it was just a kind of, you know, a big part of my life. And then, as
Yeah.
you say, getting your parents things that were very sort of that era
Yeah.
is just, it's so special, I just love some of those really key items or key objects that came out of the home from when I was a
Yes.
child. That means so much to me. I'd much rather have something like that than a very expensive, you know,
Oh, for
fancy
sure.
object. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got one of those male owls. You know the owls that are they're made out of I don't know, some sort of threaded I don't know actually, like hessian or something. It's a got
Oh,
You've never seen them?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
I'll send you a picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got that off Mum, and that hung up in her place for. I just remember it as a little kid too.
Yeah. It's such a special thing, isn't it? And that nostalgia. I don't know. And I suppose maybe you get more reflective on that kind of thing as you get older. But, I
Yeah.
love the idea that we're grandparents now and our grandsons, we are creating their nostalgia in some
Yes.
form. We're creating their memories, the things that we do with them could be things that have a big influence on them, when they're adults, which is quite a neat thing.
Yeah. It's such a
Mm,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. So you had your first solo show in 2020. So that wasn't really that long after you started really working on your own art practice. And that was at Upstairs Gallery at Te which is
Hmm.
in Titirangi. And that was
Yeah.
called Dear Fashion. So that was like another wonderful series of yours that was slightly different again. So can you tell us about that work and how that show went?
Yeah. So I think I'm just trying to think how it even came about that I got to do that show. I can't really remember. I think I just approached Sammy, who was there at the time, really awesome woman, and showed her some work, and then she said if I'd like to do a show, then I could do one. And I was like, cool. So I hadn't really, not much. I'm so naive, honestly. I didn't really know what I was doing. All I knew is that I can make. I know that much. So I just, and I think through North Tech towards the end there, I was doing, there was a whole booklet there of textured wallpaper, and I was using that in printmaking because it's really easy. It's a little bit cheaty. Um,
No such thing
hey,
as
who
cheating.
cares? Yeah.
Yeah, just another
Um,
process.
yeah, that's right. Um, so that's where the figures came from for that, the silhouettes.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was really my love letter to fashion because that's my underlying influence for everything, really, is fashion, and not fast fashion, mind you. Um, just pattern, textiles, fabric, retro clothing, all of that stuff. So yeah, I just came up with that was quite a broad. There was a lot going on in that one, lots of different techniques. So there
Mm.
was I am like the shoulder pads on one of them that I sent you. That's like hand embroidered, and then I sewed those into the paper as
Oh,
shoulder pads.
oh
It
wow.
was yeah, just madness what I did with that, and sewing sewing together fabric on top of paper and then sewing it into the paper as well. It was kind of like constructing a garment, really, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I can see that. And it
Yeah,
was kind of like mixed media collage in a way, wasn't it?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How were they received and how did you feel about the show?
Um, it was received really well. Like, I mean, it was pretty different to anything that was happening. And I got lots of awesome feedback. Um, didn't sell many. That's fine. That's something that I've learnt over the years. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a bonus, isn't it? But it's not the pinnacle of success or anything. Um, uh, I did a day where I was in there and I was just working on some other work, and people were coming and going. And I got to have some cool chats with people. And a lot of it, I think, is that because there's sewing and craft in my work, people like to have chats about what they did with their nana, and like it brings up cool stories about or memories of
Mm,
that sort of thing, which is
yeah,
really cool.
that's
And then
really
lots of people are like me and have like insane fabric stashes that they want to talk about, which is
yeah.
cool. I can do
Yeah.
that all day. Yeah.
Well, you're connecting with like-minded people, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And that is quite brave of you, I think, to have that attitude early on in your artistic career, and with your first solo show, to think it's okay if I don't sell many. Because I feel like for some people, and for me included, I've had to do a lot of group shows through my artistic life before I've got to the stage recently of not worrying about sales, like actually genuinely not worrying, because
Mm,
I used to find it such a sort of, it really dented my confidence if I didn't sell anything, and I don't think I was established enough in my own brain to handle that. I was needing that sort of that feedback from other people, but whereas now I'm very comfortable in what I'm making, it's really means so much to me that that is the main thing. In fact, I almost don't want to sell so I can bring them home and put them on my wall.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I have had some pretty lows since then, some low times of no sales and like feeling like absolute, you know, like that feeling.
Yeah,
I probably say would now in the last maybe 6 months, I'm starting to not care,
yeah,
so I can look back and go, it didn't matter. That's
yeah,
easy.
exactly. At the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
it could have been more
At the time, it
painful.
was heartbreaking, but
Yeah. And it's a funny one, isn't it? But I think you can get to the point where you don't need the affirmation of others in the same way. I think some affirmations are good, um,
yeah,
but not necessarily sales.
no, it's a fickle thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
even though we
mean,
all want to make sales to make some money.
I remember someone asked me because I had a real low patch after the ballpoint series, and I was really, really down about that. And someone asked me, Leigh, maybe you need to ask yourself, like, what kind of artist are you? And I was like, well, what does that mean? And then it's like, well, are you an artist that sells work or are you an artist that makes work for, who are you making it for? Da da da, all those kinds of questions.
Mm,
And no one had asked me that before. I'd never really thought about it. So that really changed how I thought about things.
yeah. It's good advice, isn't it?
Yeah, it was so good. I really just wanted to be told that I was amazing and not to worry about it, but that was much better at the time. You
Yeah.
know, just a bit of a reality check.
Yeah. But it must have been encouraging that you had a couple of galleries wanting to show your work.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
Yeah,
that's good. And the more you do that kind of thing, the more confidence you can build, I think.
yeah. And I was a complete and utter nobody as well.
No such thing as a nobody, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. But I know what you mean, and you do feel like you're a bit of an imposter at times.
Oh,
Um,
fully. I still
yeah.
do.
We've all
It's
felt that, yeah,
yeah.
including me when I approached you. But
No
your work,
need.
for me, I do find your work very inspiring, and it's kind of made me think, oh, I feel like I can take the way I use thread to another level. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's really inspiring. So can we please talk about your really colourful works, which do connect to your environment a bit more,
Yep.
in an abstract kind of way? So yeah, can you talk through those for us?
Okay. So they started, I think I was nearing the end of finishing, or maybe I'd finished. No, I started doing a couple of those while I was finishing the ballpoint series. And I think it was because I was getting sick to death of looking at blue. So I wanted to do colour. And I just had some paints lying around. So I just, yeah, I look at this view every day of our deck over to at the Aotearoa Saddle, which is this huge farm that's opposite the gully of us. And it's just this awesome hill horizon, and we get the sunrise come up over it, so we get the morning sun. And in the evening, we lose the sun pretty quickly, but the sun sets and then it reflects off that mountain. So you get all
Wow.
these beautiful just colours, and then you'll get the if there's a storm or something, you know, you get the big black clouds, and then but the sun will be hitting the mountain in front of it. It's just we've
Wow.
got some amazing pictures of that. And so I just thought, oh, you know, the whole, you know, sort of like home's where the heart is, kind of, you know, like that Talking Heads song, "This Must Be the Place," sort of vibe about it, of feeling connected to land. And I guess I've been quite disconnected from, like, in terms of knowing about my history and my whakapapa. It's something that I'm doing now as an adult. So, yeah, just like that sort of around belonging and identity and how that connects. And for me here, I feel really connected with this land here, and we
Yeah.
are the guardians, and I really love that. And just feel like we were always meant to come here, really. So
Yeah, that's a powerful feeling. I feel the same out here at Muriwai. You know,
yeah,
it so much feels like our place that we're supposed to be, and a lot of my work responds to this place as well.
yeah, that's such
Yeah,
a cool fun.
yeah,
Those works come out of me really easily. They're just like they're right there, ready to go, and they're kind of light, and the colours are really nice to work with. I like looking at it when I'm doing it.
yeah.
Mm.
They're so beautiful. So, what is just for the people who haven't actually seen these works, and you can view them on your blog post, which is on the Creative Matters website,
Mhm.
.co.nz. But you basically draw up a pattern and paint that, and then add the stitch over the top. And sometimes the stitch is over the paper and just the same color as the paper, similar color, white
Yeah,
or neutral. And then you do often match your threads with your paint, but sometimes they're quite contrasting. So, can you kind of
yeah,
explain? I don't think I did it justice, but could you please explain those
that
works?
sounded great. Um, so I think I just the whole thing came about with I just wanted to get a real depth of colour. And if you do just colourful thread onto paper, there's always a bit of white coming through. And I wanted to eliminate that, hence the paint underneath. But then, depending on how you use the thread too, you can just start creating way more depth as well.
And the way that you stitch is it does a little bit put me to shame because I'm pretty much a split stitch girl and I do the odd running stitch, but I don't see myself as a sewer. I see myself as an artist who is adding texture to paintings, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but you seem very technical. You've got some incredible stitches going on that I have no idea how you do. So I've got so many questions about your process. How do you decide on the stitches? Do you create patterns through drawing to start with? And how do you get through the paper?
I poke the holes first and then go through with the thread after. And I used to, so it just depends. It's kind of shifted now. I'm doing a lot more condensed stitching now. It used to be a little bit more just running stitch, and I would do that in a pattern. So I'd draw up a stencil, cut that out, poke those holes out, and they were just running like lines. The stencil would be the shape, and I would trace around that to get the pattern.
Yeah,
So I'd just start with one shape and then go from there.
yeah,
And then go through either with a ruler or an FPOS card or whatever, and just line it up and do my dots or the holes so they're straight, and then do them about, I don't know, 4 millimeters apart. I think I was doing each line, and then go through and running stitch through. That's how
wow,
it started. And then, but now I don't really rule any lines. It's just really free form.
really?
Mm.
Wow, it doesn't look it. It looks so precise.
I think it's just a lot of practice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, some lines are ruled, but the patterns and it's not precise at all. It just, I
Mm.
guess it looks it, but yeah.
So have you got to the point now where you can just run through with your holes along a line, or I guess you still need your ruler, I presume.
I still, yeah, use a ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is, I mean, that you obviously can work in a sort of very meticulous way. I mean, it feels like it's incredibly, like I said, precise. And once you've made a hole, if you put it in the wrong spot, I guess that's problematic.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really annoying when that happens.
Yeah, it would be. I guess you could cover it up with a stitch if you're clever, but
You
could be
could do,
tricky.
yeah. It is
Yeah.
tricky.
And
Um,
I really love your big wide stitches that I guess it's a bit like a satin stitch, isn't it? But further apart or something.
which one's that?
You know the ones that are quite long and they just go all the way along and then come up and all the way along next to each other. Lots of lines
Oh,
of
okay.
of longer stitches.
Yes. That's I'm just going through the back in and out. I'm saving thread on those. I'm not going all the way around and under because
Oh,
that'd be too much stitch.
yeah. So
Um,
how do you you come up to next to the one next to
next
it
hole,
and then
yeah,
across. Oh yeah, yep.
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
They're pretty close together, those ones. They're like a mil apart. I have had problems where if you're meeting two of those together, then you're putting a whole lot of, I guess, stress on that one line, which can split the paper. And
Yeah.
that's really annoying when that happens.
That would be, especially when they're 1 millimeter apart. So, what do you
Yeah.
do to avoid that?
Um, I just try to avoid having too many of those together
Yeah.
in one area. But it's quite tricky because you've got the paper, and like when you're embroidering something, you're always flipping it over. So with paper, that starts to change the paper a bit because you're bending it, and well, not bending it, but it's like you're moving it all the time. So it becomes softer and more malleable and heavier because every time you stitch through it, you're adding weight to it as well. So it almost becomes like a tapestry, which is
Mm.
kind of a cool thing all on its own.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, a lot can go wrong, and paper's pretty unforgiving. If you rip it, it's done.
Yeah. That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself as capturing the environment through these works?
The landscapey ones are kind of like reflections, of the sun on the mountainside and stuff like that. They're getting, I don't know, I mean, gosh, I just sort of come up with something once it starts.
Yeah. So you start with the paint and the idea, and some of those shapes definitely look like um maunga and landforms.
Yeah, and they are for
Yeah.
sure.
And then you kind of build on that with your embroidery stitching.
Yeah. So it's kind of almost like two stories in one. There's the landscape story or the land, and then there's the patterns on top. And they're not specifically patterns I've taken from anywhere. They're kind of, they might allude to sort of tuku panels or weaving or kuru patterns, kuwhaiwhai maybe. Lots of
Mm.
people see different things, and I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm not really defining anything in particular. I quite like that it's, there's lots of, well, you could look at it in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I imagine people would really respond well to them because they are beautiful. And the stitching, I think, on the paper is just so effective. So how do you,
Yes.
I have seen a short video on Instagram of you stitching through paper that was hanging. Is
Yeah.
that how you always work or does that vary?
Um, I was just having a bit of an ergonomic change up at that point because that piece was so massive that it was easier to do it in standing.
Mm.
But often I just work at the kitchen table, the old kitchen table. We don't eat at the kitchen table. It's half my art and half Hemi's art or Lego or whatever. So yeah, I just work at the table or on the couch when I'm
Mm.
watching TV.
Yeah. Well, it's that kind of action, isn't it? Where you can actually be doing something else at the same
Yeah,
time, kind of.
it's yeah
But not your ruling. I mean, I presume the actual planning for the pattern would be,
at the table.
at the table and need quite a lot of focus.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you've put forward your silk scarf work for this perceived show that we're working on together. Can
Yeah.
you tell us about that piece?
Yeah. So that's probably the most sort of that took ages, didn't it? Much longer than I thought it would. I think that would be the first piece though that I've done that's really solid colour. Everything else usually has I use a bit of the paper, the whiteness of the paper. But with that one, I just thought I'll just go all out. And it's, the silk scarf idea is, I just love a silk scarf. I mean, it's like the short story of the fashion world, it just like tells a whole story in a really nicely little self-contained, form.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the history of the silk and scarves and all that sort of thing I quite like as well.
And it does look like a scarf, doesn't it? The
Yeah,
way you've
oh
done
good,
the
I'm
edging.
glad.
Yeah, it definitely does. How have you actually done the edging?
Oh, that is so the netting looking stuff, that's just stitched. So I guess they're little diamonds. And I just freehanded that so it would look as organic as possible.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to add tassels on it. I asked my husband, do you think I should do tassels like all the way around? And he's like, no, don't do it.
So you did it.
So I did it. But I think it's because he knows how long it takes. And then I'll
Yeah.
get halfway through and be like, oh my God, why did I start doing this?
Yeah. Why did you tell me to do it? That's so
Um,
good. And
yeah.
do you just leave thread hanging and then not the ends, or do you have to stitch or tie on another piece?
I just usually bring a thread through and cut it to a length. Yeah, with a knot on the end of it.
And how are
Yeah,
you going to frame that one?
that's just getting framed in a light oak, frame. And that's something that I've thought about a lot is that is the whole framing thing. Like, man, it's so expensive. But also, like, when you put it into a frame, I don't know. I think it's been said a lot where you kind of, then it's sort of like a specimen. And there's something about stitched work and textile work that you really want to touch it or do.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
see it without glass in front of it is quite different than looking at it through glass. And I think working on paper, though, it's a really tricky medium to frame in any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if you
That's
could. I
something.
think it was Belinda Griffiths who I spoke to a while ago. She, for certain paperwork, she'd get them glued onto hardboard.
Oh, okay.
But then you'd have to have a very archival paper, I guess, and you do wonder how well the threads will last without being protected.
Yeah, maybe. I
I don't
mean,
know.
all the paper I use is pretty good, but then you get like fly,
Yeah,
and dust and stuff like that. It's kind
yeah,
of a catch-22.
yeah. It's tricky.
Mm.
I mean, mine definitely don't have glass in front of them, and they probably never will at the moment, the way I'm going. But yeah, and that could put some people off. I mean, I have heard people say, "Oh, that would collect a lot of dust," but it's not really what I'm thinking about. Probably I should be, but yeah. And I
Mm.
did read somewhere that uh, you said after talking about one particular work that you're purposefully making this unnecessarily complicated, and which I like. So, do you find that you just can't help but really get quite complex with your pattern?
Yeah, it's a real it's a problem. Um, I don't know. I like because I'll test on the piece that I'm working on. I'll do tests on there to see what an area will look like if I continue to do this pattern. So I'm kind of committing myself before I even know what it's going to look like. And then so it could start out like quite complicated. And I'm like, oh, I love that. Then I'm like, oh, shit, now I actually have to do that this much to do
Yeah.
the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't do um, any tests on anything beforehand. I just go straight into it.
Wow.
And yeah, it is a lot of it is probably unnecessarily complicated. So,
And then do you find that those patterns, they sort of grow quite organically as according to what you're liking the look of or what you can't be bothered doing anymore and that kind of thing?
yeah, for sure. Um, I've carried a lot of stitch patterns through pieces because I like doing them. Like mechanically, I enjoy doing them. And there's some that I don't really like doing, but I like the look of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've evolved too. I think a lot of it has evolved, which is quite cool. But I've got a couple that I really just like doing.
Mhm.
That the effect of them is really nice.
Yeah, that's so good. I started stitching just because I really wanted to respond to my grandmother's stitch works, which I've always loved. And I've had them professionally framed recently, and they just look incredible. Um,
Oh,
so that was kind of an inspiration to get started with thread. But then I'm not really a very patient sewing kind of person. And and I started stitching. I was like, oh my God, this is going to take me forever. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll fill some of these spaces with paint because I love to
mm,
paint. And then I was like, oh, I actually really like that contrast of the sort of flat paint with the texture. And that sort of led me down a whole new path, really. And
yeah,
yeah, all based on me being too lazy to continue threading.
that's
Ah,
awesome.
yeah, it's quite good.
Did I just hear you say that you like the different surface texture of the paint next to the thread, next to the canvas?
Mm,
Yeah, because I like that too, like the matte of the paper. And
yeah,
then if you've got ink that has a different sheen to it, and then if you put shellac in there, you get that shiny against
yeah,
the thread. Then you can get such an awesome, yeah, combination of just surface texture.
yeah. And that's what I'm loving. And I'm
Mm.
working on linen, which I do love working on, but it's the only surface I've actually worked on. So, maybe there is potential for trying something else. But
Mm.
sometimes I do leave the linen coming through, which I quite like as well, which is kind of similar to what you do, although you've got a lot more paper showing. And being a mixed media artist, you do add other media into your works at times. I've seen a
Hmm.
bit of beautiful gold leaf in amongst the paint and the thread, which is really effective. How do you go about adding something metallic like that?
I add it when the ink is wet or when the paint is wet, and I just stick it on. It's not very complicated.
And then blow off the other bits that don't
Yeah, yeah.
stick.
Just if I want a little bit of a bougie feel to it,
Yeah.
and it catches the light so cool
Yeah,
when
it
you
really
flip it
does.
different angles.
And it
Um,
seems to kind of fit with your color palette because your color palette for this last series has been quite sort of warm colors and quite sunsetty.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that works really well, doesn't it?
yeah. I was thinking that I don't really use greens and blues
Mm.
apart from the ballpoint, but that was unavoidable. Um, yeah, I'm very much attracted to warmer colors.
Yeah. And then using black in there as well, then with the neutral thread is
Yeah,
just such a lovely color palette. And it feels quite you. It feels like a bit of a signature color palette
yeah, I've been told that.
in a good way.
Yeah,
And is there anything else that you introduce? Sometimes you do have threads hanging off, like we talked about for silk scarf. Are there
yeah,
any other things that you introduce, any other materials into those works?
yeah. I haven't done it recently, but I will take some of my fabric, my retro fabric, to the photocopy place and get them to photocopy it onto acetate. So
Mm.
then it's like a stained glass window with this cool pattern. And then I will cut a piece of the paper out and put that in as a panel in the back. And then so you have this kind of see-through window effect as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've done
I
that a
love
bit.
that.
Haven't done it recently, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. So it's interesting, isn't it, when you look at your art practice, how you do work in different series with different materials at times, which is a way I like to work as well. I find it sort of it's just exciting starting something new, isn't it?
Oh,
And
I love it.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
motivating. I'm not the artist who makes similar work all the time. I like to kind of break it up. I don't know if I'm mixed media artist or a multidisciplinary artist or multimedia artist. I don't know what I should call myself.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either.
What do you call yourself? Mixed
I
media.
just say mixed media, but I don't know. I'm not really sure because it
Mm,
just depends. So
yeah.
maybe, yeah, it is multidiscipline. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters, does it?
No, it probably doesn't. It's only when I do the podcast and need a title for the person's name that it's probably the only time you have to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
But how do you find coordinating these different series of works? Do you return to some of them, or do you put them to bed
Mm.
once that's finished, or do you develop it further into something that's slightly different?
Yeah, I mean, the colourful ones and then the shellac printed ones are two quite separate, I think. And I pick them up and put them down, and both of them have come a long way too. They've, you know, evolved. Um, I mean, I would love to do a show of either of them and just see what that would bring out. Like
Yeah.
I think having the deadline of a show and having that incentive there would really get the creative juices flowing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so.
Because
Yeah,
at the moment I'm just sort of do.
doing bits and pieces. Yeah, a show is so good for that. And then I wonder if you'd ever combine works from different series or make a series that is combining lots of different ones because that would actually make a beautiful show, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Because you're still connecting across the series with your mediums
Yeah.
that you're using. Um,
Yeah, for sure. I think,
yeah,
yeah, it could absolutely.
I think that would be great. Yeah.
I'm always thinking about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how do you find getting your work out there? I know you don't always have a great love relationship with Instagram. But
I'm
how
just
do
so
you
lazy.
well, it's hard, isn't it, when you're busy? But are you represented by a specific gallery or how are you going about getting your work sold?
I've got work in galleries, um, Hihiawa Cultural Centre in Whangarei and Hiku in Hikurangi, and Soul Gallery in Hamilton. I'm also showing my work at Collaboration in New Plymouth. But what I did this year was I said at the beginning of this year that I was just going to say yes to art. So every opportunity that came along, I was just going to do it and just see what came out of that. And it's been totally mad. So I'd already committed to the New Zealand Art Show with a friend of mine. So we went down to that and I put in 6 works down there. And then, before that was the Taranaki Art Show. So I'd said I'd go into that one as well. And then I got invited to the Mags Art Show and the Barradine Show. Just that all these things happened and I just couldn't do them all. I had to actually say no to a couple of things. And then you and
Podcasts.
yeah. And I did a workshop at a high school for some kids and yeah, just like all of these opportunities come really thick and fast too. So it's only August and I'm
Mm.
exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so that's how I did it this year. And it's really has put my work out there and I've got heaps of feedback and it's like, it just self perpetuates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You sit at home, you don't put your art out anywhere, nothing's going to happen. I
No.
remember
And
someone saying, no one's going to come and knock on your door and go, hey, you're amazing.
exactly. That's
You're
the
not
thing.
doing
And
anything.
once you do something, it often leads to other connections, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you
it's
just got
been
to
a
get yourself
busy
out.
year.
Yeah.
Mm.
Go you. And how do you find combining a physiotherapy practice with an art practice?
I think it really balances itself, yeah, nicely. Because in my work day, I'm like a consummate cheerleader for other people. So it's like a lot of giving, I guess, of energy in that. And then I can have art to just regroup. And
Yeah.
if I didn't have that, I don't know, I'd just be too tired. It'd be, too exhausting. I think
Yeah.
art's it's a bit of a solitary pursuit, isn't it? And it's kind of very self-indulgent. So it's a nice balance for me to have both.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
read that you said morning meds with some morning threads,
Yeah.
which is part of your sort of ritual of getting up early to do some work, but also I guess it's some sort of it is like a medication or a sort
Yeah.
of a way of balancing your mental health.
Well, it's my wairoa, my like spiritual connection to something that keeps me well that I can't explain, you know.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. I hit like something at North Tech, and
Yeah,
just ever since then, it's just like magic.
you're off.
Yeah,
There's no
and I don't
stopping you.
even care what happens because I've got a day job, so I have the luxury of, you know, I can take 3 months to do a piece of work if I want to, and that's quite a privileged position to be in, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
So I don't have any stress. I feel like one of those ladies that sat around embroidering, back in the day.
I often think of that when I'm threading. I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my grandmother. So funny.
Lady of leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I do work, so that's good. And also having a day job, well, it's kind of a career, really. I should stop downplaying it. It pays for my art habit, so that's cool too.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, but I'm doing what I want to do, so,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And it can be a really good balance. Do you find your sort of work feeds into your practice in any way?
it just makes me understand, I think, more like about that wider thing. I guess, that well-being thing, and that's art for me is that. And for other people, it might be something else. Just in terms of, like you've got your physical health and your um, mental health and that, but then there's something else there as well, which is that
Mm.
spiritual. It's not a religious thing. It's like your soul talking to you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I do connect with people on that level, which builds rapport and it, brings the best out in a rehab situation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I meet lots of people up here who are weavers or fishermen or, who are using their hands and it connects them with their well-being. So it's really nice to draw on that and use that as part of the rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, making in the way that we do, I don't know if it's something to do with the actual process of threading, but I do
Mhm.
find that very, very therapeutic, more so than painting. And the fact that you can actually do it sometimes on your couch, depending on what you're doing, is kind
Mm.
of nice as well. Like you other times of parts of your process, you need to get away and get focused and work in your studio, but other times you can just be with your family and making. And
Yeah.
I love my grandsons seeing me making. I want them to just think of me when they're older as someone who was always making, and that
Yes.
is a thing that they could do as well.
Hard
So,
out.
yeah, it's kind of a cool thing, and it just enriches your life when you've got that place to go.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I think thread work and stuff like that is such a pick up, put down thing. It's not a wet process. Yeah, you can literally just pick it up and put it down
Mm. Yeah, which
if
is
you
kind of
feel
nice.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Leigh, I feel like I could talk to you all day. It's just such a good excuse to meet you and get to know you a bit better before the show, just to have a podcast.
Yeah.
Very unusual way of connecting, but hey, we get your story, so that's all good.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the questions. What do
Oh,
you find most challenging as an artist?
gosh, I looked at these questions and I knew they were coming. Most challenging would be, I think, probably just the roller coaster of self-doubt. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that would be one of the things.
What
Yeah.
would you say to your younger artistic self?
Um, I would just say things are going to get really cool, so it's fine.
Don't
I
worry
was
about it.
already pretty arty, and I liked that I didn't follow the rules and I was a bit non-conformist. I think
Mm.
that did well for my creativity. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't really change anything.
yeah, that's so true. And why do you think you make the kind of work that you make?
I think it's just that Wairoa thing. It's just like a call of duty, really. I got to do it. It keeps my well-being in check, and yeah, I just get so much joy out of it.
Yeah. And I guess the thread work goes back to your sewing interests that you've had for so much of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because my work's been called crafty by some people, and the way it was said too was quite offensive. And I was like, "Whoa, dude!"
Mm. Yeah.
But I think it definitely, I guess, it sits in both worlds. I mean, if you frame something up and chuck it on a white wall, you can call it fine art, maybe. But I love the craft behind it.
Mm.
That the laborious craft work. I just think that's an amazing thing. And it's such a skill set in itself that was just sort of fobbed off as women's work that
Yeah.
it was never taken seriously. Although textile art now is quite massive and much
Yeah.
more um, considered, you know, significant, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, I think it is changing. And I think now it is easier to add thread to a painting, for example, than it might have been 30 years ago.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah, which is good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it there has been a big shift, but there's still some people in society who would say it's crafty and a kind of as a bit of a put down, which
Yeah,
is weird in a way. I mean, it's just another making technique, just like painting.
I know. Yeah, that's a
Mm,
funny thing.
mm.
Mm.
And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Um, I would say hopefully making more art and working less would be nice. Always thought of entering another award, maybe. Um, I would like to use that as like a check of where I'm at in the art world. I think
Yeah.
is quite a nice thing. I hope that doesn't come across as arrogant because,
No,
but
no, not at all.
it's quite cool to put work into those things and see where you sit,
Yeah,
you know. I think
yeah.
it's a really cool thing to do,
And it's
but
a
not
great way
get
to
too.
reach a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Mm.
So maybe I'll do one of those one day again.
Would you like to be represented by a dealer gallery?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't think it matters to me personally in the waka that I'm on. It doesn't really make much difference.
Mm.
Um, I like the idea of making work continuously, and it would be good if that had somewhere to go and not
Yeah.
clog up the studio.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean. And just like when I asked you to be part of the show, you happened to have started Silk Scarf anyway, so that was
Yeah,
perfect. Perfect scenario.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's so fascinating, Leigh. It's just been such a pleasure to meet you. I feel like, I'm just really excited to see you again on opening on the
Yeah.
31st of August. Yeah, but it's great to hear the story behind it. And it's actually really fascinating how many things we have in common and how many links there actually are between my
Mm.
work and your work. Although, as I've said, I feel like your work is 100 million times better than mine, but that's my issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing and for being brave enough to be on the podcast.
Oh,
And
thanks.
I can't wait to share my work and hang it next to yours.
Yeah, I can't wait to. That'd be awesome. Cool.